In this video, we're going to go over the what do you think on page 173 and 174, the caption question on page 174, what do you think on page 175, inquire on page 175, making a difference on page 179. Okay, what do you think? Page 173. How do individual citizens exercise power in Canada? Individual citizens can vote in elections to ensure that their views are represented by the member who is elected from their constituency. Individuals can also join or donate money to groups or organizations that are working to make their region a better place or to make people's lives better. The more people that join together, the more powerful that group has to or has the ability to influence government representatives to be accountable to the people who elected them. What do you think on page 174? In Saskatchewan, women could not vote until 1916. How could excluding some groups from voting affect democratic decision making? So, people who do not have the right to vote have little power to influence government decisions. Often decisions are made without respecting the perspective of people who do not have the vote, because elected officials need to only worry about acting on the opinions of people who vote for them into office. The caption question on page 174. How do you ensure that all voices are considered when a group makes a decision? Okay, so that's a very, very tough question. So usually a good discussion amongst all members, so all opinions are heard, would be a good idea for making decisions. So possibly students might come up with an answer like voting on which is the best idea, or to ensure that everyone's idea is taken into consideration, possibly practicing active listening, or doing a self-assessment that asks if everyone participated in the project or a decision to make sure that everyone's thoughts were taken into consideration. What do you think on page 175? How are you exercising your responsibilities? What are you doing to make your school community a better place? So once again, your answers could vary quite a bit on this. Now, some of you really take your responsibilities very seriously. Many of you have ran for or are members of our Student Leadership Council and have tried to do activities. Some of you have taken quiet leadership roles, trying to help guide other students into making decisions or helping them get prepared for tests or helping them study. Many of you that are older siblings do a lot of work helping others out in your family. I know quite a few of you are especially helping your younger siblings with your math and with their math and other studies right now, and your fellow classmates, which has been just terrific. Now on the colony, there's many examples of responsibility. All of you are very active in the garden. You know, if you slack off, others have to pick up your work. So from what my understanding, you guys are doing your fair share all the time and trying your best when you're doing those jobs. Page 175, inquire. Identify examples of people working cooperatively in your home, school, community, or province to effect a change. Wow. Just if you take a look at the colony, the reason why it exists and why it is doing so well is because of the great cooperation that occurs daily within the community. The work being done in the fields, the ranch, the kitchen, your yards, like it is top notch. And it's not the work of one person, it's a whole community that is making your life such a wonderful experience. Now we can take a look outside of the colony. There's numerous organizations that I know the colony has helped as well. So if you take a look at the food banks, the hospital foundations, I know that the colony's made many donations to that. If other organizations in the community could be like friendship centers, recreational groups such as hockey associations, ball associations, Boy Scouts, 4-H, Elks, Kinsmen, Purple, the Royal Purple Association, United Way. There's just so many organizations that help make things so much better. Okay, making a difference on page 179. Thinking critically. Judge Arnott stated that he was not responsible to either the FSIN or the federal government. Why is that position important when holding a discussion on treaty issues? Now, that is so important for our judges. They have to be unbiased and fair. So Judge Arnott had to make sure that First Nations culture and perspectives were respected and that First Nations were treated more fairly than they had been by the federal government in the past. A judge has to respect the views of both groups when acting as a moderator and must not be seen as being partial to either side. Historically, the federal government had not dealt with First Nations people in a fair manner, and Judge Arnott wanted to make sure this treatment did not continue with the land claims. Question number 2. Judge Arnott believes that work on treaty issues is very important for the future of Saskatchewan and the people who live here. Explain why that would be true. His goal was to help everyone in Saskatchewan understand the treaties. The treaties do not just apply to First Nations people, but to both nations that sign them. First Nations people need to benefit from the wealth provided by the land and in the same manner as everyone in Saskatchewan.